Okay, in this section we're going to talk about deleting or dropping documents from collections, and then after that we're going to go back and talk a little bit more about update. So remove is pretty simple, so I thought we'd just go through that first. So the general format we're going to use, and once again this is Mongo shell syntax, will be something like this, where we have db, which is our connection in the shell, our variable for our connection to the database, name of our collection, remove is the verb or the helper function name, and then this is our where expression, if you will, if you want to think in like a SQL sense. It's the matching criteria of which documents we want to remove. So the key thing to remember here is that this is a multi-document operation, right? So we can, with one of these operations, we could remove everything from the entire collection if we wanted, or only certain documents, or only one. It's going to depend what we put in here, right? So to make an analogy, in SQL, we would have something like that. So there's a rough correspondence here. Okay, so let's go give this a try. So in our test collection, if we wanted to delete the first document there, we could do something like this. So this is the where expression, you know, documents matching this expression, this Mongo query language expression, will be removed from the collection with this name. So one thing you might want to do is, before you do such an operation, is just do the equivalent find, just to confirm you're not going to accidentally delete something you didn't intend. Of course, in this case, the query expression is pretty simple, so I would probably just go ahead, but if we were doing something a little fancier, I think this would be wise. Or you might do something like this and just kind of get a feel for, you know, how many documents would be removed. And then let's go back and we'll actually do the operation, and the document is gone. So that worked. Now, if we did that, we're going to remove all documents from the collection because that matches all. So let's do that, and they are gone. And since this data set is small, if we just wanted to re-add these, one way to do that would be, I could just copy them to my clipboard, and this is a little bit of a tangent, but I think perhaps useful. Do something like paste them in here, save that. It's the test collection. I'm going to call it test2 just to be clear that we're putting it somewhere new, or that we're not necessarily putting it somewhere new, that we're re-adding these that I had on my clipboard. And there they are. So at least the four that I cut and paste right now. The point of that was not that this is a good way to recover data, obviously, but rather just to kind of show another example of using Mongo import, and that this format that we're getting outputted in the shell is JSON and is thus compatible with Mongo import, for example. Another thing you can do is, if you have something on your clipboard, like say this one, is you can just paste that into a shell as needed. So for example, I could create a variable y equals, and I'll just hit paste, enter, and now I've got that in the variable y, and I could do things with that, such as insert it, for example. So a little tangent there from remove, but do one more. Let's remove where x equals hello. And in fact, I'm going to use the regular expression here just to kind of demonstrate that a little bit. So if you look on the advanced queries page in the documentation, you'll find more on regular expressions, but Mongo does support them. So let's do that. And they're all gone because they all matched our regular expression. They all have this x hello field, it turns out. So all of them are gone now. Okay, let's do a quick quiz on this. So here's our quiz. Suppose we have documents in a collection called users of this form. So this is an example. How would we, in the shell, run a command that would delete all the documents where city equals Lyon and registered as false?